What's going on, people? Neblime took on Art of Turtle yesterday as of the day of recording, and that is epic, but also complicated? Let's discuss. We're on Decapitation, a 4-spawn map, port of Twilight, Shakura's Temple. Sorry, the tile set is Twilight. Pronogo, you're getting your wires crossed. We've got our Cyan Protoss in the top right, Neblime, oh, he's glacial actually, hailing from Australia, and hailing from America, Art of Turtle in the bottom right is the Japanese Violet Zerg. Now, one of the things that I said at the beginning of this is that it's awesome. And it's awesome that Neblime and AOT went on because, well, it's another set of 2 new players and another matchup I haven't casted in the last 2 days. And it's a chain of the matchups, right? And that's very cool. The awkward or strange part is that I did say in a coming cast that like forthcoming, that's a couple of days from now, you'll watch it because you'll subscribe to this YouTube channel and you'll see it. I recorded them out of order and I said it's not every day I get to see Art of Turtle play. Well, no, it's not every day, but it might be every other day if you catch my drift. Anyway, Art of Turtle is down here in the bottom right. He was streaming this game on his Twitch channel. I highly recommend you go to twitch.tv/art_of_turtle and subscribe to him or follow him or whatever you can afford to do. It is very epic to get people streaming Cosmonarchy and getting more value there. While you're at it, you can go to twitch.tv/swarmlord1 to follow Steven, a Protoss turned Zerg player, which is more fitting for his Twitch name anyway. He is going to be getting some action done there. We might see some trouble early on here because Neblime has gone for a lattice start, and while he scouts with his worker the wrong way, he's scouting with his vassal the right way, and AOT has gone for a double Kagrant opener into a Larvosk. He's got no tech node whatsoever, and he's dropping his Kagrant for Circuit anti-defense. Now he's going to have to play the Burrow micro game that I have seen so many Zergs play, or he can just make a Quasrock or Quaseth pool if he so desires. But turns out he's kind of just jumping the gun and immediately making a couple of Kagrants. Let's see if he loses any workers. This Burrow game can be a little bit trickier, especially on latency that is becoming of Australian players. Yeah, he's going to lose one worker because he started to morph it into something else and he hit the fat finger button. Neblime making it difficult for him. A third vassal on the way. We have an idol in production as well. That's a second worker going down. Oh, he just ends up burrowing everything. Makes a couple more workers and the Spraiths will finish. Crucially, I don't know if that Spraith is actually in range to defend the larva, so it looks like very narrowly. Very narrowly. I'm not going to say it's calculated, but it's kind of epic that it was done that way. The Ovoleth will come in here and see there's no expansion attempt, so I should expect melee units out of that gateway and similar such things as time goes on. Still no tech node for AOT. He has the Circuit over here, and that is prime pickings for the vassals if they want. I don't know if Neblime realizes there's no tech node yet for his opponent, because he could probably just walk across the map past the Circuit and end the game right here, but I don't know, I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like it's happening. Instead, it looks like we're going to have a bunch of Kagrants come on down. Oh, that one's going to die. That one's going to die. Oh, that was a dead worker. That could have been a live worker. That could have been a real boy. I can't believe it. So this game is looking a little bit rough for our turtle. He is going to go ahead and grab a pool. That's going to be a Spraith. Ew, full killed. So unfortunate. So that's 2 dead workers. By the way, if you cancel a mutating structure, it will give you your worker back once it dies. So that's another little trip, little tip. I don't know why I said trip. I think I was trying to say trick and tip. That's a trick and tip for Mr. Art of Turtle. You can use that going forward. See, it gives you your worker back now that it's dead. Right? But if it was mutating, it wouldn't because it's incomplete. So, very cool stuff there. All right, well, I think Neblime is very much ahead in here. And he was kind of favored anyway because of his macro level, right? His understanding of the game, stuff like that. I think Neblime is about to scout with his vassals that here comes this Quaseth pool. And, okay, well, like, you know, as soon as he figures out that, like, oh, my opponent doesn't actually have anything this whole time, that's going to be a pretty big loss. Now, I'm not actually sure what happened to AOT's Ovoleth. Did he bring it back? He's capping his gas net. Maybe it died? Does any idol have a kill? The Matrixes don't have a kill. I don't think the vassals left to kill it. I don't know where the Ovoleth went. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I can't see it on... Oh, it's all the way in here in the top left. I was wondering where in the minimap it could be. And then Neblime checked the top left. He's probably like, my opponent is not GGing. Oh, he's got it. I was going to say, does he get to the K-grid in time before it recedes? We increased the speed at which it spreads and recedes, like way back years ago. Like one of the first things that we did to the project, really, in the first year of its development, probably, is one of the things that we ended up doing. So it's not a foregone conclusion AOT had the opportunity to do that, but it looks like he seized upon it. He will expand. His worker count is definitely worse than Neblime's, and Neblime will find the Ovileth now. He found what I could not find for a very long time. He even has a pylon over here. I think what he likes to do is he likes to put down the pylon while he waits for the Crucible, or Nexus in this case, to warp in, and then he warps structures in around it. So if you're wondering why there's a pylon there, I'm pretty sure that is why. He's even hugging his Matrix over here with 2 idols, prevents a Quaz run by at the front gates while preventing a Nath switch from really having any value there. I feel like at this point, oh, there's already a Khaz'trith being pre-mutated. Quaz are going to come on back. The Scribe will scout the expansion timing. Now, I know this sounds sacrilegious to say, but AOT isn't actually completely out of this game. Not entirely, not fully. I honestly thought we would just be moving on to another replay in the set. I only grabbed one of them. So who knows? Maybe we still will do another one after this, but looking at it the way it is right now, I'm like, whoa, man, how is this game still going on? You know, Neblime pulled his punches on that attack, not realizing how far ahead he really was. And, you know, when the Vassals hit you and you were going double Larvosk, it's kind of an instantaneous, like, scramble to do anything efficiently. And then the follow-up there from AOT after the scramble wasn't really up to snuff, right? So he's massively behind. But Zerg can come back from deficits in ways that the other races, in order for them to come back, they would do more offensive things. They would drop if they're Terran, or they would tech if they're Protoss. Zerg can just do it by exploding in unit count. And you know, what we see Neblime setting up over here as he moves forward, he's got Cantavis coming. Basically, Neblime, in order to really do that... Oh, he even gets the Khaz'trith detection there to snipe that Witness. That's a little bit of an unforced error from Neblime. Maybe it is still a fairly new structure. Players are probably forgetting that it does what it does. So here you're going to see Storm actually does damage structures. The Khaz'trith is going to help out. The quasi-suicide mission to kill the Cantavis was successful. This does stall out the push here. We do have one more at the natural, but Neblime not currently sending it down. Still canvassing the area of the map with Vassals as he goes to take a third base. So, like, again, Neblime is massively ahead here. Don't get it twisted. I do think, though, that looking at this situation, we have extra hatches. Like, Art of Turtle is doing some right things here. He's acquired more tech that will let him live up to his namesake. He is acquiring the ability to potentially push back the Protoss, especially considering we don't have any detection anymore. Thanks to that fumble from Neblime on the Witness, the Lakers can definitely help out over here. They are going to absolutely run roughshod over any Zealots. There are Storms available for the Cantavis, so Neblime does have access to that. There's 4 Gorger cores being made. So, you know, there's ways that AOT could try to equalize, but I do think that Neblime's approach to this is really, really nice, you know? Like, he's figured out, I'm just going to do what I can to contain my opponent, stop him from expanding. I'm going to monitor the whole map with my Vassals. I'm just going to constantly be on the lookout, right? And the reason he's doing that is because if he can keep the Zerg rather to 2 bases, he can access his own tech and just finish him off. Even, you know, yes, of course, YouTube commenters out there, you should know, and it is right to sort of comment that Neblime was ahead and to the point that he should have been able to maybe make this happen. Now, I was about to say that maybe the breakout could occur, but savvy usage of hallucination there from the Cantavis, that made it so that he didn't have so many idols in one spot to deal with this air stack, and yet he was able to make it happen courtesy of that hallucinate. So very nice. Very nicely done there. But yeah, like, AOT is definitely far behind. Neblime definitely could have won the game earlier, but so far as he's, you know, maybe playing it safe with the Lakers here, yeah, honestly, maybe Neblime still could just walk in, shut down the Khaz'trith, and then kill everything else. Like, he hasn't sent another Witness in here. There's nothing that will snipe the Witness. I guess you could say the Gorgs might, if they get a look at it, right? The Ovileth is here to detect past the cliff, so you can't rely on that. He's got one over here. He's got another one rallied over. He's going to go ahead and just try to attrition with Storms. You can sit here and wait a little bit, but it looks like AOT is just going to allow that Storm to kill 2 of his Lakizilisks. He's also dropping in tier 2. So, you know, he's capped both ridges. He's saturated them very quickly. He's floating some larva here, but overall, like, I see what he's going after here. He wants to try to break out with the tech. I think this is actually the right move, considering he can't, he wasn't able to get another base out anywhere else, and you can't just, like, hit and expand versus someone who's canvassing the whole map with, you know, with vassals. Great storm snipes here just to sort of, like, attrition him down. It's an interesting way to try to take the dub here, but it's not... I don't know if it's exactly what I was thinking would happen. So the one thing that AOT has to get really concerned about here is he's actually been given a lot of rope, courtesy of Neblime, and you gotta watch out for this. You can't bite before you have your tier 2 actuated. Like, you can try to jockey back and forth so you can stop the Cantavis from storming your static defense, that's fine. You're posturing with a bunch of units, you will stop the Protoss from being able to do too much here. Meanwhile, Unitary Union tier 3 has been achieved. And now he's biting as his tier 2 finishes, but he doesn't have anything to actuate it, so the Gorga cores are going to get shredded by the Idols and the Cantavis combined. The Lakers are going to be able to do okay versus the ground army, the melee stuff. The Zoryus obviously sacrificed their lives, that's to be expected, but he loses the Gorgs. That was really a big amount of the teeth in his position. I would love to see, you know, maybe he goes for the Ultrav Cavern that gives him the ability to get a little bit more value out of it. Instead, he's going to upgrade all of his static defense. That does make sense. I still think Neblime could bust, and that's a very risky play to morph them all at the same time. Like, Neblime could absolutely walk in here and bust. That Khazitrit's dangerously low as well. Oh, I thought maybe we were going to see it happen. Instead, it looks like the Khazitrith might just end up dying to the Architects. I like that he's trying to catch those extra projectiles with the Zoryus as well, just kind of using that instead of his structures soaking up the damage. We are making Lyrilisks here for AOT, not so many. He could definitely benefit from having more, but he only has so much income. Yeah, this is the concern, right? If the Khazitrith goes down, his defense becomes a lot weaker. Here comes the Lakis pushing forward. This is a very interesting style here. Neblime playing this like, I don't even know what. Like, he's really trying to keep the containment going. I'm allergic to Psionic Storm, and it's happening. It's in a big way, clearing AOT's significant set of chaff. He's got a bunch of Zethra cores, but those are going to melt between the Storms and the Idols. He doesn't end up getting the kill on the Architect. I'm really amazed there's only one here the whole way anyway. Definitely feels like there could be more. He's now making 12 pairs of Nathra cores. I guess if he gets enough Calculisks, maybe, but as someone who's fought Calculisks, or who's fought Idols with Calculisks recently, I must admit it is not an ideal fight here. Neblime saturating his bases. He's got a 4th base operational, taking a 5th. At this point, it's just Bob's your uncle, you know? If you know, you know. He's going to go ahead and clean out some of these pathing blockers, let him reinforce even quicker. AOT has definitely been on the back foot this whole game, and it is unfortunate to see because, you know, you want to be able to be like, this Brood War guy, he's got it. He understands. But, man, that Vassal opener really just kind of messed him up, didn't it? We do have the Calculisks mutating. Like, there is a chance that he can wipe some of this army, but as it continues to reinforce, I think if AOT saw what was outside his ramp in totality, what was outside his natural in totality, he would not even... he might throw the units at him just to see how far he gets. You get a little bit of passive experience just watching the fights and seeing, like, what to focus down and stuff, but... Yeah, I think at this point, Neblime realizes maybe I can just A-move in. Where's your stuff? Here come the Zoryus and the Vorvs. He's going to go ahead and give himself a little bit of a speed boost. The Calculisk's just waiting for a couple more to finish. It doesn't feel like they're going to be enough here. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be very wrong, but the Idols are going to definitely do a lot. Oh, the Storm on top of the static defense. You can see when it turns into Naps, they're just... That's a sign that you've lost a lot of Calculists. He's hardly got any more. Storm's still going. I think we've got like one more Cantavis in here. Not actually casting any spells right now. Doing a fusion dance, but he's got nobody to fuse with. And the Idols, honestly, if those were not made in the same number, maybe this game turns out very different. Maybe we extend it. But AOT was... That would have been a ridiculous comeback if he had figured it out. And Neblime lies and says he's on 6 bases. I don't know where he gets that number from, but that's okay. Maybe he typoed it, you know. It's right next to 5. That's a wrap for AOT. All right, you know what? Let's give him an opportunity. Let me pick out one random replay, and we'll cast that one as well because they played a whole boatload. Maybe it'll look better. Maybe it'll look better. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on Martyr's Ground, a new map by the Shambler. Now, talk about a little bit of a out of order situation, because I casted a game between Art of Turtle and the Shambler on this map. This is a map by the Shambler, and I casted it, and then I believe we're on a more up-to-date version now for this video. So when you see this in the next couple of days, well, it'll be an older version, Blast from the Past. Time paralysis. Oh boy, AOT going for an Ovaleth first and mining all minerals otherwise. What is going on here? Okay. Oh, I think AOT's got a Kagrin drop him. We might... Okay, well, maybe this replay won't go for very long. Now I'm in the top left of Martyr's Ground. This is a 2-spot map, so XY symmetry. We have Neblime playing as the Ultramarine Protoss. No, of course it's Zafir this time. I don't know how I'll tell the differences. And, of course, we've got AOT down here in the bottom right as the Japanese Violet. It's going to be a single Kagrin into a pool. So this is a delayed pool, but it's probably not that delayed compared to Larvosk, right? It might even be a bit faster. Obviously, the big problem is you don't have another structure. Where the hell is your other stuff, right? And what will Neblime think when this occurs? Problem is he is making a vassal, so... You can't really make an offensive Spraith in your enemy's base. That would be very amusing to do. Maybe if he ends up like sending a bunch of Zeths, right? That would be one thing that he could do. Is you could send the Zeths over, and then you could kill the Circuith and turn it into a Spraith when he makes nothing but vassals. Instead, he's opening Simulacrum. I foresee very, very spooky, dangerous things here. And he's looking around. He's like, "Do you have like a hatch somewhere? Is this Brood War style?" Oh, that's an interesting place for it to unload. No, I really wanted it to be back here. No, I guess not. No. All right, that's it. I think he probably like unloaded it, targeted it like up here or something, and then the game was just like, I think this is the closest valid coin. That was a bit goofy. You do have to be somewhat precise with your unloads. Unfortunately, we can't just make it like, the way that you would want it to be is you would want it to just be like a building placement grid or something, right? The Vassal is back! The Vassal is back to hunt down the Ovaleth and finish the job. Make that into a Spraith, my man. Unload that. Unload it right here. Make it into a Spraith, I dare you. No! No! Oh, okay. Thank goodness. Don't make it into a Circuith. If you make it into a Circuith, he farms infinity sims and A-moves you. Ah, Neblime, feeling a little bit of the... feeling a little bit of the blood rush to his head, He's like, oh my god. I almost got Kagrin dropped. What does this maniac think he is? We have 4 Quas. I thought maybe there were more. Yeah, they're back here, patrolling for vassals. Now, there are 2 Sims, 3 Sims, and a Drakodon. We are getting Simulacrum Drakodon as the follow-up, 1 Zealot on the way as well. This will turn into a worker, which he can then burrow if he so desires. I don't know if he's going to be on top of that exactly. Doesn't look like it. Still instead going to be cognizant of the potential push of the Sims. He should just dive onto the ones, especially if they stretch behind his hatch, it feels like. But well, he can also just choose to flood for the Zeths. Now, at this point right now, Neblime is definitely having a lot of value from the Sims. AOT not showing great control of his units just yet to focus those puppies down. He's doubled the Sim count already, it feels like. And, they're already pretty good versus Quas. Let's see. We are going to get that Art of the Turtle happening over here. Okay. He give you your Drolith back now. Do something with it, No, he calls it... Okay. What can I say, ladies and gentlemen? That's just the way it is. All right. I know I said we'd do one more. But we could do one more. We are back with the scoreboard this time. We're on Endpoint. Cross positions. Last game, then bet. Okay, cool. We've got the final game in the set. I think I picked one from the earlier. I think I might have picked like the first game that they played or something, and then I picked the one from the end or something. So I guess that makes sense. That sounds like what I would do. We have Japanese Violet, Zerg, Art of Turtle in the top left, and he will be going for a Kagrin opener. Okay, yeah, it's Larvosk. There's no Ovaleth on the way, so we know it's not the Kagrin drop. And it is a lot of start for Neblime. Feeling that for sure. Interesting sights. I am interested in seeing where this round ends up going. We've got the Larvosk. I feel like a lot of Zergs are trying to greed with getting too fast Larvosks early. And AOT has actually stopped harvesting Vespene so he can go straight to pool after his first Larvosk. This, to me, feels like a safer opening, right? I do think you can choose to go for a Hydrith start instead. Definitely interested in seeing what ends up happening there. I guess the Hydrith might actually start, even though it takes a little bit of extra time compared to the pool. Because you'd get it before your Larvosk, it might still pop faster. And then you factor in like the increased time and resource cost of the units, you should still be able to get a couple of Hydras out in time to defend whatever. So I still feel like that has legs as an option. Versus Terran, who knows what you can build. I feel like you might be able to get away with a lot more. But that matchup is not as explored right now, it feels like. I see a lot of TVT, and I see a lot of ZVP overall, even though it did take a little bit to get these replays going. You know, it took a little bit of time. Oh, Neblime's going to have to hightail it out of here. Oh my god, Neblime lost a worker. Neblime lost a scout worker. Is this replay working? Is this a desynced game? Hash? I guess sometimes for Neblime. Atros going down in the base. Yeah, Endpoint is a map that is a port of our point. I did the port. It was commissioned by Hit 'em Up, I believe. Natural is over here, and it's pretty open to assailing, right? You know, like the choke is all the way on this side and that sort of stuff. So I still think you can take an expansion, but oh, he's got to correct this. If you put the workers here first and then you harvest it, it'll fix the gas pathing there. Very, very important stuff. We'll check in on that for AOT. Been a big amount of vassals here that the Drilleth Scout will finally reveal as it makes it across the map. He immediately actually pulls it back before even seeing the vassals. He's going to have to go ahead and burrow. He actually burrowed his Zeths ahead of time, which is kind of interesting. He's baiting the Ecclesiast out, right? And now he's going to run by with the Zeths. This is actually a really big brain move. I did not know to expect it from Mr. AOT, but he's done it. Showing us he's got a little bit of something. Big drill there from Neblime, losing 3 workers already. Goes back to his ridge, and now gets the decollide. Okay, he shouldn't lose any more workers. They are pretty tanky in Cosmo comparatively. Still, Zeths do a ton of damage. Maybe if that second Zeth had been attacking the same worker at the end there, he might have still gotten a 4th one. But hey, for 3 Zeths and a Droleth, he ended up, or 3 pairs of Zeths, I should say, he wound up scouting the tech and killing 3 workers, denying a little bit of mining time, and obviously stuffing any initial attack that you might see. Now he's fixed the gas pathing as well. You know, if he had done that to begin with, maybe he would have been in an even better reality. Looks like he's about ready to cap his ridge, but yeah, there it is. Still waiting on those vassals to hit home. The Quas are maybe thinking about a move out, but as long as they stay by the ramp, they shouldn't be too far away. You know, you can always just burrow the workers to deny the mining raid. He's actually burrowed a bunch of them at the ramp, and so he's going to have to pull these out. He doesn't have vision. He does not have vision of the vassals just yet. Now he does, and he already has a couple Quas ready. So 1 worker gets blown up, trades it for 1 vassal, and he's going to see what he can do there, but he does kind of reveal his Quas count. Might have been more interesting or more mind-gamey for the Protoss. You can see Neblime already pulling back because he saw, in my opinion, I think the reason why he's doing that is because he sees that there's not that many combat units in the main base. If you keep those other units hidden, he doesn't know if he needs to expect, you know, some kind of counterpunch. So we have, what is this, 5 or 6 Quas? 6 Quas patrolling inside the worker line. Another round of workers comes out here. I love going for a second hatch before your second Larvosk, or rather, going that in general versus Protoss. 1 worker will get blown up here, but the Larvosk is a big target, right? And so that's actually something that I think it's a good thing for AOT to go for hatches in this kind of matchup. And also saves you a little bit of Vespene, obviously. Big surround there, but he only ends up picking 1. Oh, man, losing a 3rd worker, or I guess a 4th overall to the Vassal Harass, but also losing the one that was going to go for the expansion. He's expanding ahead of schedule for Neblime at the very least, right? It's something that I have a strong belief that, like, Zerg should do. From a fundamental, like, gameplay design, it would be better for the game thematically if Zerg expanded before everybody else. But we have lived in a world where a combination of perhaps map balance, definitely meta development, and current player skill and like player ideas is that Zerg are trying to do that, and then they usually end up getting nuked at the beginning of the game or whatever. And I'm not talking actual nukes, although that would be pretty epic. Imagine. Fast expansion. Nuke rush activated. Yeah. So very cool. But we need to see if it has legs, if it ends up being a common thing, right? I do think that Neblime, it's a bit uncharacteristic for him to stick on so much military without an expo, and his embassy was kind of late as well, so it's not even like he has a flock of artisans making up the difference. Zeths have been dispatched, one of them going to the top right. It doesn't look like he spotted the army move out. It's an okay army in terms of strength. I don't think it's going to stand to, especially the Hydra push that's coming in. 8 Hydras in production, and we already have like 5 or so standing guard, so this does not look like an attack that will finish the job. I'm going to go out in a limb and do the risky move. I'm going to say it is impossible for Art of Turtle to lose to this attack. Outright impossible, given his current status. He does still lose 5 Hydras, which is considerable. He only kills 3 Vassals and a Zealot, so not cost efficient so far. But Neblime does indeed agree with my estimation of things. He needs to fall away. Zets are confirming no expo. This one up here in the top right just confirmed everything in the top right is clear. He might even want to go ahead and grab this guy at 6 and move it into the bottom left. Maybe he already did that and I missed it. Definitely a good move, just to quiet any doubts, right? Like, all right, we know Neblime isn't trying to go for an expand, right? So, Manifold starting to add in, anticipating Zor use, anticipating Izira Core, and of course they do have some utility versus structures. So when the static D comes out, I think at this point AOT is going to go ahead and solidify. He either expands again or he hunkers down for tier 2 with Bactylisks. So that seems to be where he wants to go. His ski back is already done, upgrading those Hydralisks into those longer range bounce boys. And Neblime trying to make the 1-base style work. He has 3 artisans. Still a couple of units at home just in case anything happens with the run by. Obviously his 2 wardens as well. He's moving in on AOT's home turf. And there's a Khaz'it halfway complete. I'm going to go ahead and say it, boys. It is impossible for AOT to lose to this attack. I'd love for him to not even bother spending anything else on static D. If you have the Khaz'it, then you're not going to be going out on an attack. You can't lose. Larvosk will go down. Honestly, not the end of the world. I'd actually turn that into a Spraith and just add a couple more hatches at this point. Neblime kind of counting on AOT to overreact to this. But at the same time, he did not remain in the same place. So he gets what he really, like at that point, you definitely should have gotten that almost, I feel like, at the beginning when he first rolled through with the Vassals. Obviously, he was worried about the Quaz crunch, but that might have been a target to do when he was jaunting for Droleth picks. I think a more experienced Zerg, and AOT will turn into this the more he plays, would be in a situation where the burrow micro is going to be there preemptively. He's not really going to lose the workers there, right? A big move out here from AOT. He has no static defense whatsoever. He's got 1 Spraith morphing in the main, 2 Spraiths morphing in the main. The Vassals can swoop in to raid the natural, but instead, they're going to try to come in and maybe support. That's 20 Vassals. It's a non-trivial amount. I actually think Neblime might be dead to rights here. We're going to see, as the Vassals end up engaging a Quaz flank, way more Zerg than what Neblime expected. He's only now finishing his Nexus at the natural. And an idle, a couple of other units, the Ecclesiast pops that's going to make the other units be able to escape a little bit easier. Surprised that Manifold still falls there. Shows you the importance of kind of microing your retreat a little bit more. Sure, yeah, he's had these artisans for a good while. You could say he's on 1.5 bases, but he hasn't really been on 1.5 bases for too long. This is a big move, though. 14 Vassals clearing Infinity Hydralisks on a rally. Very, very good. But is it going to be enough? I feel like AOT at this point can just continue the A move, and Neblime might actually be taken down a notch. Ending on a win, maybe, is AOT. He did say this was his last game. They played like 16, and that's it. GG. Neblime has fallen at the end. Okay, so we got a little bit more representation of PVZ. That's kind of what I wanted to see. Sure, you can say that those first 2 wins, they weren't so glorious to the same degree. I almost feel like we should have just casted that game and left the rest of them gone. But, you know, that wouldn't have been representative of the sample size now, would it? GG's. AOT scores a couple of dubs, and or a dub at the very least. We don't know about the rest of the games. Neblime clearly scores a couple of dubs, or maybe AOT own gold. We'll let you decide at home. But I do think that when games are, you know, like there's definitely a lot more to develop, right? I'm seeing so much potential in the back and forth, and what if this happens? Play that situation out. What if that happens? Play that situation out. And think little things like, oh, I didn't scout that many units, but he should have more units than that based on his worker count. Therefore, I got to fall back because he might be moving across the map. Those kinds of mind games. The brilliant Zeth run by where he burrowed, baited out the Ecclesiast to snipe it because if air units can't reveal the burrowed units. That was beautiful. Well-deserved dub at the end there for AOT. GG's will be back tomorrow for more Cosmonarchy.